Hello everyone and welcome to the first of what will be a League 1 and 2 review on a monthly basis, where I'll be joined by fans from teams up north, down south, east, west, League 1 and 2. If you've got an opinion, you are welcome to join us. For this first show, I'm joined by Bradford fan Nige. How are you, pal?
Hiya, mate. No worries. I'm fine.
And I'm also joined by Crawley fan Reuben. How are you, mate?
Hello. Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
And running slightly late is Colchester fan Si. He will be joining us later. So we'll crack on with League 1 because all supporting League 2 clubs, I know that's the one thing you definitely want to talk about is League 1. For me, it's still a bit early to be discussing league tables generally. But I would take a minute to congratulate Lincoln, who at time of recording are sitting top of the league, looking very impressive. They've obviously got the top goal scorer in the league at the moment, Grant, with his 6 goals. Do you two see, and again it is early stages, but do you see Lincoln being the sort of side that can stay up there throughout the course, or do you see them petering off, whether it's halfway or 3/4? Nige, I'll start with you.
Well, after what they did to us in the league, in the League Cup, I'm not surprised to see them up there because, I mean, we were pretty awful, but they looked like a side that were going to do something this season. I'm not 100% clued up on the side. Having what's been going on the last few months, it's been difficult to find out who's coming in and who's going out everywhere, but they looked really well organised very early on in the season, and I think it was second or third game we played them, and they beat us 5-0. And to be honest, it was 4-0 at half time. It could have been 6, 7, 8-0 at full time. They look like a really good side, so I'm not surprised at all. They're a great club. They've obviously linked to us through the Bradford Fire, so we've got a good relationship with them, and it's good to see them up there. I hope they stay there myself, personally.
And Reuben, another side up there is Peterborough, who have won their last 5 games. They're the sort of club, I know everyone talks about the Ipswiches, the Sunderlands, the Portsmouths, but Peterborough, I would say they are a big club in League 1. They've had recent time in the Championship, and as I've said, they're in good form. Are they the sort of side you can see competing this year?
Yeah, without a doubt. Whenever I see Peterborough, I always see them towards the top ends of the table. I mean, I know their owner's been absolutely fantastic. He's very vocal on Twitter, and if you've got any questions, he's sure will answer them. I'm just looking at the table right now and seeing Lincoln at the top in a way that surprises me because to me they still seem a fairly small club coming out from non-league, and so to see them up at the top is just incredible, almost doing a bit like what Burton did. But yeah, I'm sure Peter will still be up there towards the end of the season. I know they've got a lot of money as well to be able to buy players and stuff.
I would definitely echo the thoughts on Darragh McAntony. When I was first getting to know him, I wasn't sure about his character, just through sort of stuff you watch or hear. But as I've become more knowledgeable of him, more aware of him, what he does and how he does it, I would definitely echo the sentiments that for me, he appears to be one of the better chairmans around the lower leagues. If we look at the sides who came up from League 2 last year, Plymouth and Crewe, I think are doing well. They're in the upper half of mid-table. Northampton, 19th, possibly where you might expect them to be. But last year's COVID champions, my club Swindon, as a team struggling of the 4. Here's Nige. Are you surprised that Swindon are the one of the 4 struggling? And can you see those 4? Is it about staying up this year, having just come up, or can you see them challenging?
That me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the 21st, to be honest. I expected them to be 24th all season, to be honest. They're a terrible club. I absolutely hate them.
It's all right because Doyle scored about as many for Bolton as he did for Bradford as well.
No, seriously, I mean, there's two things about the COVID situation. Is getting promotion, obviously, is good in at any time, but not being able to watch matches and enjoy promotion is the downside. But the upside is it's just absolutely upside down everything, isn't it? I mean, you just look at the teams and where they are. It's more structured as around where you think it would be in League One, but the other divisions, even the Premier League, it's just completely on its head. So it's a good opportunity, really. If you win 3 or 4 games with the number of matches that come, Saturday, Tuesday. If you get 2 or 3 wins together, you can find yourselves in playoffs this season, and it's just going to be about this season. I think whose squad doesn't go out too much, doesn't see anybody, doesn't contract anything, and who stays fit, and squad size is going to come into it, and obviously you'd know more about Swindon's squad than I do. I'm just really bitter and twisted about last season, and I really just would like to move on if possible.
Reuben, sorry, carry on.
Because I remember seeing Swindon towards it was last season, and it was a game when Doyle had just come from Bradford. Oh, was it Bradford?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
right, Reuben, you know full well it's Bradford.
And I was actually really disappointed with how Swindon were playing when Crawley played them. And so I was surprised to see them up towards the top ends of the table. And so it will be interesting to see how, towards the end of the season, how this all plays out with Swindon. And I think, like Nige said, it will be interesting to see how the table is. It's all topsy-turvy. I mean, seeing a team like Wigan fairly near the bottom. I mean, I know they've had financial troubles, but you'd expect to see them higher up, I think. And yeah, come the end of the season, who knows what will happen.
Well, on that note, Reuben, I was going to ask you, on the flip side, the teams that came down from the Championship, obviously Hull are going really well. COVID permitting, Swindon have got them Saturday. Charlton 9th, so in and around the playoff mix early doors, and then, as you say, Wigan down in 18th. When you look at, again, the teams we've mentioned, the perceived big teams, if you like, the Sunderlands, the Ipswiches, Portsmouths, Peterboroughs, do you look at teams that have come down like Hull, like Charlton, and think they're the teams that should be pushing for promotion, or are you thinking the big teams will be the ones that will be up there come the end, and maybe Hull will settle for a playoff place, something like that?
Yeah, I think you're always looking for those teams that have been relegated to be towards the end up near the promotion side. And so that's why it's surprised to see Wigan so far down. I mean, I know the drop from League 2 to National League, how quite often National League, once you're being relegated, it's normally a mammoth task to actually be promoted again. But I feel like with League 1, League 2, it's slightly different when you're relegated into those teams, into those leagues. So, yeah, I'm not surprised most of the teams are towards the top still. But let's hope Wigan's financial difficulties are sorted soon and can head up.
Well, let's head to something that you guys would be more focused on, and that is League 2. And I'm pleasantly surprised to an extent, similar to the majority of how the top of the Premier League looks at the minute, that there's a few more surprise teams, if you like, at the top. So we've got Newport at time of recording, sitting top of the league. Walsall are sort of mid-table, yet they're unbeaten. And then you get the likes of Southend, Mansfield, Barrow, they're all winless. Nige, I'll come to you first. Do you think it's just one of those years, with everything else that's going on, that perhaps we shouldn't be surprised with the surprise teams being up there?
No, I think what's going to be most important, like I said previously, with squad size and people staying well and fit, is teams that have been together a while, teams that are already settled, and teams that have already had half a decent season the season before. Now, Newport's, I mean, the manager Flynn used to play for us, and he's a fantastic guy. I'm surprised, to be honest, that he wasn't snapped up end of last season. And COVID probably saved Newport from losing him, and Cambridge as well. I mean, they're the surprise package. But having said that, they were in around the top half of the table early doors last season and dropped away, as did Forest Green. So we just have to wait and see what happens with those clubs. But I think really this season, after having a bit of a mediocre start after promotion, Salford will probably come through into the top three. And I'd expect probably Tranmere as well to come strong. But you just have to wait and have a look at every side. I've only seen 3 or 4 teams so far, so it's difficult to tell. But Newport, just destroyed us on Saturday. I mean, there wasn't a lot to beat, but they look well organised and like they can stay up there.
Speaking of teams that are going to look to come good and do well, we're now joined at last a little bit late by Colchester fan Si. Good evening, pal.
Did you, mate? You're right. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. You missed all the boring chat about teams like Ipswich, which I know is what you were hoping to do.
No, actually, I don't mind talking about Ipswich at the moment. They're losing, so it's good.
We're on to League Two now, and we've just been discussing the teams at the top. Let's have a quick look down the bottom. Scunthorpe have lost their last 5. I mentioned just before you came on about Southend and Mansfield being winless. And I was asking, should we be surprised at a few shock names at the top? Should we be surprised maybe with a few shock names down the bottom this year?
So my take on it, I think Scunthorpe is a bit of a false position because they've just had their game against us called off on Friday due to COVID testing. I know at the weekend they were missing a couple of key players due to COVID as well. So I think maybe they could almost look at that situation, maybe be a bit of not as much an excuse, but maybe a reason why they're down there. I think Southend and Bolton tries to take the league too lightly. Now, Southend have got all manner of problems off the pitch with winding up orders, and to be fair, I could see them going due to the fact that Macclesfield went with the same amount of debt, but Southend is that just owes the taxman along with other outstanding debt. I think Bolton just thought they're going to come in, walk it, go back up again. So I think it's going to be difficult. Come Christmas, we'll get more of an idea who's down around there when teams actually sort of start picking the way out and stuff. Because last season there was a couple of teams that were both at the top and at the bottom that everyone was a bit surprised about, and eventually the league semi-worked itself out. Admittedly, obviously it ended early due to COVID. So I think the bottom is going to be hotly contested. But also on that front, like we touched on last week, I've got a horrible feeling that the League Two promotion and relegation may be done more on who survives as a club, more than what happens on the field. Off the field is going to speak quite highly as well.
Yeah, it is a concern at the moment, the future of a lot of clubs, both in the Football League and even obviously drip into non-league, which is something we'll touch on shortly. Reuben, Si and I did what I'm calling a practice record last week. And one of the things we discussed was the Salford City manager situation. We both agreed we couldn't understand why Alexander went or was pushed. I had a quick look today before we come on, and I'm concerned because Richie Wellens is the favourite to take over, and it would hurt me a lot if he was to go. With Joyce, Cook and Keane in just behind him. Nige, you said you weren't going to be bitter anymore.
Fantastic. Oh dear.
Reuben, what's
Oh.
your take on what's going on at Salford?
I mean, who knows? It was an unusual decision. I think they were fifth at the time of Graham sacking. It'll be interesting to see who they do appoint. I'm surprised that Paul Scholes isn't even being considered in the betting in the top three at the moment. Whether they just wanted to employ one of their Bessie mates to take over the club, because I mean I'm sure that might be the case in years to come. And yeah, because I mean we played Salford on Saturday, drew 1-1, which I think anyone would take against them, considering how much money they probably spend and their wages are probably a huge amount compared to Crawley's. But yeah, I wonder whether it will be told as to why those decisions were made.
Moving away from the league slightly, obviously last night was the draw for the FA Cup first round. I think it's fair to say you all got fairly reasonable draws. If I've got this right, Colchester got Marine at home, Crawley got Torquay away, Bradford got Tunbridge away. Nige is worried already. What I was going to ask you all, and Si, I'll start with you. The longer we are without fans in stadiums, can there still be a magic of the FA Cup? For example, Marine will probably be very happy to have got Colchester. Now, on the balance of probability that you're able to get through the first and second round, and say you get Liverpool in the third round, but there's no fans, will it still be a big occasion? Can it still be a big occasion? And should playing Colchester be a big occasion for Marine?
So I'd say on sort of numerous fronts there, Marine have probably got a good chance of actually going through to the second round. Sadly, we don't do overly well against non-league opposition. I remember a couple of seasons ago we were knocked out by Oxford City. Everyone thought Oxford, oh, maybe it's United, but no, it's actually the City. So that was one of our proudest moments. And I think the FA Cup has lost a bit of its magic already due to how some of the bigger teams in the Premier League are potentially trying to sort of not take it as seriously as they used to. Last year, I was lucky enough to go to Old Trafford with Colchester during our EFL Cup run. That was just an amazing day out. We all knew we were going to lose. It was just a case of we were there. Just the fact that you were seeing your little team play at Old Trafford. So I think the magic of the Cup is the big teams coming to little grounds, the pitches being the levellers, etc. I sadly do think that's going to be lost this year. But going back to how the FA Cup is, it broke me last night watching some of the highlights of the Cup games, as like during the draw and in the news, how you've got all these non-league fans sort of climbing over each other celebrating, and yet we're not allowed to go and social distancing outside our own grounds. So, if anything, the magic of the Cup is lost even more because it's a bit of a in your face of what we're all missing. You know, we can't see live football. So I think this year is going to be a very dull FA Cup, and even upsets will just make a bit of frontline page news. That'll be it. Move on.
Would you agree with that assessment, Nige?
I think because the lack of fans, we'll find out in later rounds that there's going to be more cup shocks than people realise, because there's it's just 11 against 11, and away from home, I think non-league clubs are going to do better, and lower league clubs are going to do better than normal. Now, obviously, it just depends how seriously the Premier League teams and etc. take it on board. But as somebody who's obviously I've got a lot of interest in non-league football, I'm watching it at the moment. I've been watching it since beginning of September. I've been to about 12, 15 games already. And those clubs, you can't measure just how much they need the money. They're basically even going right up to what I'd call step 3, but which is really Division 6 or 7, in the pyramid. there's just volunteers running things. You know, the National League clubs, some of them are bigger than League Two clubs, but below that, they'd really struggle without fans. So, without handouts from anywhere, really, a lot of these clubs would be gone by now if the fans weren't in. So, I'm disappointed, really. Just to change the subject, what's gone on with the FA and scrapping losers' pay and then losers' awards rather, and then bringing it back again. But instead of putting extra money into it, they're taking it off the winners' amounts. It's like they just realised after the draw that they were going to get non-league clubs that are just going to pull the COVID card and decide that they can't afford to go to these games. It's just a farce, really, isn't it, when you see the FA behaving like that. But as far as the games go, there's just, for me, getting a non-league club away is just, they're being fantastic. But obviously we're not going to be able to go now. So, but they've done a fundraising thing already, raised nearly £1,000 for them online from Bradford fans to help with them losing from gate receipts. So, what I'd say to Si is obviously he's annoyed because he sees them, non-league clubs with fans in, and league fans can't go. Well, I say to Si, go to a local club and watch some live football, because it's better than having to watch it on iFollow all the time. It's absolutely horrendous. I hate it, mate. I absolutely hate it. It's just terrible. And you're paying £10.
I'm very lucky that where I live, there is a non-league team far enough down the pyramid that I can go. And I'll be honest, I'm very lucky, and I'm very happy to go and watch them. I know that the small contribution of money I pay is helping them, but also it's just nice to be able to be out in the world that we're in now and to watch some live football. And I know there's the stigma that it's all sort of dog and duck, but it's not. There are some decent players, even down in. Yeah. I think the team I go and watch are Step 7. You can see the players that are capable of playing higher. We've only got a few minutes left before all tonight's games kick off. So I just want to go through, and we'll start with Reuben just quickly. Tranmere tonight, are you confident? What's your score prediction?
Well, I'm actually, because we kicked off at 6:30, so it was a super early kickoff, and I'm just
drawing 0-0. You're doing all right. You've had one shot. I've just had a look.
Hang on. Like that.
You're winning. You're winning now. Congratulations.
Are we? Well,
yes,
there's a delay in. But we're amazing at home. I think we haven't lost in like 12 games at home. Oh, we haven't lost yet. We haven't lost in 12 games at home. And so we just hope our home form stays. We're just dreadful away. But yeah, hopefully.
Sorry, Reuben. Sorry about that. I've ruined your match.
It's fine.
You might have scored. I'm not 100% sure.
Might have scored.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's looking good. Put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. We've just scored. I've just seen it. And score prediction. Well, I'm going to say more than 1-0. I'm going to say 2. I'm going to say 2-1 Crawley.
Nige, you mentioned before we started recording Bolton away in a relegation 6-pointer.
Yeah. Well, Doyle's pulled a sickie, hasn't he? The absolute chicken so-and-so. That's twice he's not played against us this season. And what's up with him? He's running scared. Do you know what I mean? That's the only reason I wanted to pay £10 to see him put in the stand.
I believe last year he wasn't allowed to play against you because you were scared of what he'd do.
Well, to be honest, if you've got him at your football club, you want him to be playing every week, because if he has a week off, he's liable to go join someone else and get his wage put up. So that's the sort of player he is.
From what I understand, reading like
apparently he were at training at Bolton the other day, and he went nipped at toilet. When he came back, he had Juventus shirt on.
Just briefly on that one, because I am conscious of the time. From what I understand, reading the online forums, Bolton aren't playing to his strengths, and that's why he isn't scoring the goals. But what?
We've heard that one. We had that one for months, didn't we? And he
Well,
wants to be at Swindon.
Look how many he scored for a championship-winning team last year.
He wanted to be at Swindon because Swindon is home. He loved the community, and his wife and kids were settled there, and that's why he moved to Bolton, because it's.
Nige, what's your score prediction?
I'm going for 2-1 at City in an absolute clog fest that makes Northwest Counties look quality.
And top of the league, Newport away, Si. You've got roughly a minute to give us your view and a prediction on that one.
I reckon we'll go about. I'm hoping for at least a point. I think there's no reason why we can't do so. Yeah, I'll take a point away. You know, if you can get a point at home, so a point away, win at home games, we'll be doing fine. But to be fair, I'm more interested to chat about Doyle. I think it's much more interesting than me jabbering about how Colchester's going to do tonight.
Listen, all three of you, thanks very much for joining me for this first show. Message for anyone watching: if you are interested in joining the panel for the monthly show, just get in touch with @Fifey07 on Twitter. And as it is new, we're still looking for a new name, so send your suggestions in of what we could call this.
We hate Doyle. Adventures of Doyle.
Keep it family friendly where possible. But
this is the longest I've gone without swearing since I was about 25.
Well, it's all right because your game kicks off in a minute, and you normally last about 30 seconds before conceding. So we better get off.
Oh, well, I'm not even going into how long I last, mate. You see, we've got to put this out to the nation.
Listen, guys, thanks again. Good luck tonight, and if all else fails, I will see you all again next month.
Cool.
Yep.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.